We are now moving on to the 8th session of the conference, Supply Chain Technologies. In order to start this session, I would like to invite our first speaker on stage, Mr. Vivek Kele, Director, Team Global Logistics.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to start my timer now. So I think the most challenging aspect of the afternoon speaker or a panelist is how do you grab attention of the audience, because it's post-lunch time, and siesta time for most of the people. So I'm just going to request some kind of a loud response from you. I'm going to say good afternoon, and till such time I don't hear a very loud good afternoon, I'm not going to start my session. So good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. We'll start the presentation now. So it has to be compulsory. Yeah. Okay, we're going to talk about Logistics 4.0. And in the Logistics 4.0, we're going to see how from Logistics 1.0, how we moved on to Logistics 4.0. So let's quickly get on to that. So logistics, and so it's basically Logistics 1.0 has moved along with the industry, because logistics goes along with manufacturing. So as manufacturing moved from manufacturing 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 to 4.0, similarly logistics also has adopted the same methodology, and logistics as a service industry to the manufacturing, we have moved along with that. So in the first version, we had mechanization of transportation, railways, steamers, aircrafts that came in. In the second one, second set of Logistics 2.0, we had autonomous handling systems like the forklifts and other automatic system, cargo handling systems, conveyor belts, and what have you. In the 3.0 version, we had the systems of logistics management. We had the warehouse management systems, transport management systems, IT systems. All those came into the foreplay, and that's how logistics evolved as the technology evolved and as the manufacturing industry also evolved. In Logistics 4.0, which is the theme of today's panel, and this session 8, is using internet and data. And just, today's theme, a lot of speakers have been speaking about internet and data, and we're just going to continue with the theme, and we just, heard about cybersecurity. So IoT, which is Internet of Things, RFID, radio frequency systems, automation, and connected infrastructure. And today, this panel is going to talk about multiple of these things under Logistics 4.0. Okay, this is the radar of where the technology is moving to. Now, between yesterday's session and today's session, there's a lot of debate. Should we invest in technology? Will it be at the cost of manpower? Are we going to lose jobs? I think you had firstly, the first aspect of using technology is that technology should be looked at as an investment and not as expense. 2, if technology, and all of us know that USA and the European countries have adopted technology, and they are far ahead of the curve. Have you seen jobless people there in US? So when that fear comes to your mind that, with the bringing of technology and automation, we are going to lose job, I think that should be the last thing in everybody's mind. Look at technology as investment, and look at it as, do we have an option? Because if the world is moving in a particular direction, and if we don't move along with the world, we're going to be outdated. So it's just logical that adoption of technology is something that all of us have to move around with. So this is the radar. And thanks to this source of this graph is from DHL in one of the on their website they have this. So you have the social and business trends, and you have the technology trends. So this particular white semicircle that you have, this is where the world is going to move or is moving in the immediate 5 years. Post 5 years, this is next 5 to 15 years or 5 to 10 years, this is where the world is going to move to. So in today, we are not going to talk about each and everything that has been mentioned on this radar. We're going to just discuss about those 5 things: big data, Internet of Things, robotic automation, artificial intelligence, and blockchain. And I have my colleagues here, Vineet and everybody else, they're going to talk about port community systems, and payment gateways, automation in container handling, etc. So let's move ahead. So super grid logistics is ultimate that's going to happen when all the global systems in logistics are going to talk to each other. Now, I don't know when that's going to happen, but that's what the future is. I mean, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, did we know that internet is going to be proliferated to each and everyone's life? Did we know that we were going to use Google Maps? But this is where super grid logistics is very much a possibility, and that's where we are all going to move into in the next decade or so. Yeah, so these are the few things that we're going to talk about today. Cybersecurity has been extensively covered, so I'm going to skip that. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, blockchain, and big data and predictive analysis. So let's see what we have now. Artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence, all of us have, do we know that when we hail a cab, on an app, be it Uber or whatever is the local system here, or for that matter, Google Maps, do we know that it's heavily based on artificial intelligence? That's what, we are, so not that these are all technologies of future or, far away in some advanced countries that are being used. They're very much being used right here by us right now. When we came to this venue and when you open Google Maps, how many minutes is going to take me to this, to this venue? It was artificial intelligence that was helping you to, tell you as to it is going to take 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 40 minutes from the place you started. So let's talk about how it is being adopted in the logistics context. Route optimization. So we spoke about Google Maps. Route optimization. Shipping liners and transporters also use AI to increase efficiency and dynamic first and last mile delivery. Today, when the likes of Ubers or Zomatos or what have you, Swiggy's, I mean, these are the brands in India. I'm sure you have similar brands here in Sri Lanka. When they deliver to you, they deliver using route optimization. And the technology for route optimization is artificial intelligence. Autonomous vehicles and drones. Intelligent delivery planning to boost customer experience. Spot booking and dynamic pricing to ensure price fluctuation basis demand and supply parameters. All of us know that starting with Maersk and several other carriers have started using, so they are using spot booking. That spot booking is based on customer behavior. And customer behavior has been mapped. It is mapped to your internal cost and revenue grids or charts. And then that's how the dynamic pricing comes in, the spot pricing comes in. And it's all based on artificial intelligence. Automated warehouses may not be so commonplace in this part of the world, but eventually going forward, if you want to bring about sophistication and faster turnaround time, we have to move to automated warehouse. It's basically AI-based data points and robo ensures efficient operation, thus reducing overheads and streamline inventory management. Machine learning. Machine learning is another big area, and that technology is being used in logistics. And going forward, we'll see more and more applications of machine learning. What does machine learning do? It automates manual work, it reduces paperwork for staff, and it prevents fraud. Because it can detect trends, and with the trend, you know that if there's a particular behavior of data flowing in or out of the system, then that means there is somebody is trying to enter into your system, and that's where the cybersecurity rules, regulations come into place. It gives a stronger customer experience, real-time visibility, and route optimization is another area which also use machine learning. Applications of this technology. RPA of invoices, documents, and scan copies. Data entry is something which is going to be outdated in time to come. RPA is robotics process automation. It's basically, it started with OCR, which is optical character reading. From optical character reading has now evolved into RPA. And most of the organizations today, large organizations, in order to save time on data entry, the banks are the biggest users of RPA. The forms that come into that, be it KYC forms, be it customer registration, the checks, that go into the bank for using the bank payment gateway, they all use RPAs. Same thing, the bills of lading. Today, a lot of companies, be it international freight forwarding companies or a shipping line, they read their bills of lading data using the RPA. NLP, OCR techniques to automate deliveries and receipt across warehouses. Something similar. NLP is near language programming, OCR, once again I mentioned that optical character reading was predecessor to RPA. Tracking of weather and road conditions to recommend or optimize route and reduce driving time. Most of the shipping lines now are, the larger ones, are using tracking of weather and road conditions to run their ships. Road is in terms of the land-based deliveries, but the weather forecasting very much helps to navigate the ships, use of fuel, manpower planning, supplies onto the ship using tracking of weather. Intellectually independent chatbots that train themselves to understand and answer customer questions. You go and do a query on any of the prominent websites. If there's a chatbot, 50% of the questions are answered by predetermined question and answers, Q&As. And subsequently, when the chatbot is, when the Q&A gets exhausted, that's when a manual customer service person will come in. Stronger customer experience with more accurate delivery and predictions. IoT. IoT applications is enhanced inventory asset management, tagging and tracking, real-time allocation and tracking of shipments, autonomous vehicles and drone-based deliveries, guided vehicles, robots to increase warehouse productivity. These are all not, these are all technology already being used, and the day is not too far. Probably some of the companies in Sri Lanka are already using it, and the day is not too far that many more will start using these technologies. The objective of this presentation is to familiarize the audience as to what is in store for them in the next few months or years to come. Blockchain. I think a lot of discussion have been, there's been talk and discussions about blockchain. Wave bill of lading. How many forwarders here? Shipping lines have. MSC is the first adopter of wave bill of lading. I'm sure some of the customers of MSC, at least in India, they're pushing most of the customers to use wave bill of lading. That's based on blockchain technology. I'm sure they are talking about something similar here in Sri Lanka. Bolero, CargoX, and these are all blockchain-based platforms. And going forward, Mr. Jain or Mr. Gupta in the previous panel was talking about as to how it takes 4 days for the documents to move, the title documents to move from Tuticorin to Sri Lanka, whereas the transit time is only 8 hours. So these are the technologies that's going to answer some of those questions or give solutions to some of those customers. Because as we move ahead, the transit times are going to reduce. The paper has to move in the same way. The money also has to move in the same way, with the same speed, and that can only happen with technologies like blockchain. Logistic marketplace. Example is cargo chain. So marketplaces are also using this technology, for benefit of the customers. Trade community systems. My colleague Vinit is going to talk more about it, so I'm just going to limit my discussion just to a cursory mention of trade community system. Big data and predictive analysis. So, there is various applications for big data and predictive analysis. It helps in your procurement. How does it help in your procurement? Analyze, observe patterns and associate among various data sets, decision basis, past and essential insights. Marketing strategy, analysis data form to gauge customer sentiments. Transportation optimization level to help minimize cost of fuel, lower accident rates and improve driving performance. And finally, on the warehouse side, it helps you to analyze performance data of existing warehouse and predict the performances, and stock analysis to predict future demand. Amazon today uses big data and predictive analysis so that they ensure that whatever you order on Amazon is delivered to you in the maximum. So whatever that gets ordered regularly, for example, if you are ordering a particular brand of pen, and they know that 100 customers every day are ordering this brand of pen, then through their big data and predictive analysis, they will store that that brand of pens in the local warehouse in that city. And whenever somebody orders it, within 2 hours or 4 hours or 6 hours, it gets delivered. That's the application of that technology. Best practices for data security. I think it has been extensively covered in the previous panel, so I'm not going to dwell too much of it. Spend any time on it, but data security is equally important. So when you use technology, you're going to use computer systems, softwares, networks, but at the same time, I think one of the most ignored aspect of automation is prevention of frauds. And I think data security and network security is something that we need to ensure that all of us in our respective organization workplaces, get followed. So with that, I end my presentation. Thank you so much, and happy to answer your answers, or happy to answer your questions at the time of panel discussion. Yeah, over to you.